Hey guys, my name is Lilly and today I would like to continue with reporting about the crisis here in Europe. And honestly, it doesn't look too good. So here in this article, some experts are talking about an energy crisis or energy nightmare upcoming in 6 weeks here in the middle of Europe. An expert is speaking out that the situation will turn out bitter, and the longer the war in the Middle East lasts, the worse the consequences will be. The situation in the Middle East continues to escalate, fighting persists, and an agreement is currently not in sight. There's also no sight in easing tensions on the energy markets, with noticeable consequences. If this madness continues, prices of up to €3 per liter will be possible. Iran has significantly more missiles than previously thought and can fire for longer periods. And if Iran is attacked, they'll pull the emergency brake and take the global economy with them. And this is precisely what's happening now. Europeans will have to buy very expensive gas, natural gas. The International Energy Agency is already warning of an energy catastrophe in 6 weeks if oil shipments are not resumed. The expert warns that the war could drag on. Fuel lockdown looms. OPEC is forging a secret plan. Fuel may no longer be sold at some gas stations after Easter. Apparently, OPEC is already secretly working on a rationing plan. The situation on the energy market is dramatic. The Strait of Hormuz was blocked overnight, and the war in Iran could be prolonged with ground troops. Refineries in the Persian Gulf are already shut down, and some are damaged. Restarting them will take months even after the war ends. Around Easter, petrol stations in rural areas could suspend sales. For now, dealers can sell what they have in stock that will be exhausted in a few days, but from then on it might no longer be profitable for many gas stations operators to sell diesel or premium gasoline. Usually gas station operators, they only make around 10 cents per liter margin, but now the government wants to halve that by 5 cents. Europe is a net importer. We import 20% diesel and 30% kerosene. With the loss of Russian imports and the resulting decline in oil from the Persian Gulf, supplies will gradually become scarce. If gas stations now withdraw from long-term supply contracts because they don't want to sell under the new conditions, they will have to sign more expensive new contracts later. This will also directly impact consumer prices. Alright guys, so the situation is not so good, and therefore I want to prepare myself for a potential rolling blackout situation, which might be possible because we don't have enough of energy here in Europe. So I was searching for a good battery which is also safe, which doesn't burn down your house. And I'm a frequent watcher of Will Prowse's YouTube channel, and Will Prowse is very critical, and he only approves of batteries if they are really high quality. And apparently this is a brand which is called Wattcycle, which is the probably best quality, best bang for the buck that you can get. And this small battery here has 12 volts, 100 amp hours. So altogether it has 1280 watt hours. I got 2 of those, and I want to install them in my self-made solar generator. Alright, so now let's check the user manual for a second. Of course, the battery comes with a BMS, battery management system. It protects your battery from overcurrent. The maximum discharge current is 100 amps, which is pretty good. And the maximum continuous charging is 100 amps as well. Alright, so this is my small solar generator, solar card that I've built a couple of years back. And it's really awesome, has a 30 amps MPPT, 1500 watts inverter. Okay, now let's switch on the device. We got 13.3 volts, solar charger is running. Inverter is running, and this thing will run my freezer for about 4 days until the battery is dead. So that's a pretty cool thing to have if you're expecting rolling blackouts. Kids have to suffer Easter presents are almost unaffordable. Price increases put a heavy strain on mothers. Also, the price of wood is going through the roof because transporting wood out of the forest to the sawmills and then from the sawmills to a lumberyard or into a hardware store is taking up a lot of diesel fuel, and this is also making wood very expensive. Also, in India, thousands of migrant workers are now leaving the city as the global war begins hitting India's economy in real time. Not because jobs disappeared first, but because there's no gas to cook and prices are exploding. Families heading back to villages. Yeah, also on the countryside in India you can still pick wood for your fire, for cooking, but in the city there's no wood anymore. Also in India there's big textile companies and they have to close because the workers are gone, and that also means that pretty soon the prices of clothing will go up. Also, Australia has 3 natural gas plants that provide about 8% of the world's LNG gas, but the production of LNG was halted because of a cyclone hitting Australia. Murphy's Law. This is Murphy's Law. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, right? Also, petrol prices in Brazil are going up as well, but only about by 10% since the start of the war. And that's because Brazil actually has huge amounts of biodiesel, and they also have cars and engines. So Brazil is actually doing really good in the crisis. Inflation, significant increase expected due to Iran war, food prices facing hikes. Inflation in Germany has recently slowed, but forecasts predict it soon will rise dramatically. Families are particularly affected by the current price increases. Slovenia also just became the first country in Europe to ration fuel. 50 liters per day for private vehicles and 200 liters for businesses. The reason is cross-border stockpiling and shortages. Yeah, a lot of Austrians go to Slovenia to get fuel cheaper, and that causes that those gas stations are either empty or have higher prices. Some people are saying that this situation could get worse than what we have experienced with the corona pandemic. Price for chocolate Easter bunnies is rising by 29%, and also now customers are reacting and they buying them less often. Here we can see a map of France, and this is showing gas stations all over the country which are either out of gas or which are very low on gas or diesel. Also, very interesting, this is very interesting, Qatar Airways is parking their airplanes in Spain. Apparently there is one place where you go park your airplanes if you want to just leave them there for a couple of months, and that place is called Teruel. That's in Spain. It's a very dry and hot place, and it's good to store airplanes because they don't rust and everything. So that's a parking lot for airplanes, either if you want to just get them destroyed or if you want to park them for some time, you know. And a lot of those flights are now going to Teruel in Spain, probably because they want to save their aircraft for a better time when the war is over, so they can use them again, right? Electric grid at increased risk of blackouts due to surging demand of electricity. Now a lot of people, they switch to electric, vehicles or heat pumps, and they are using maybe more electric devices to heat their homes. But this will also drive up the price of electricity, and also because of the high surge, it can actually lead to a blackout. A global recession is looming, and Europe is particularly vulnerable. Russia set to ban gasoline exports by the 1st of April. Also, the Netherlands, they are in big troubles. They only have like 5.6% of natural gas left in their reserves. So that's not enough to get across the next winter. Here in Austria, if you buy a can of Red Bull at the gas station, it will cost you 6 euros. This is how expensive one can of Red Bull is right now. It's crazy. I'd rather be unemployed. Fuel is too expensive for commuters. Drivers at the limit. High fuel prices are pushing commuters to their limits. One resident of a certain region, which is far away in the countryside, is even considering applying for unemployment benefits than working in a job. Criticism of taxes and politics is growing louder. Because of the war of Iran, a wave of cancellation is hitting Austria. So Austria is making a lot of money with tourism, but now a lot of guests are not coming anymore, especially travelers from the region of United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and Persia. Okay, I have to say it doesn't look too good. And I now want to go into the store here and purchase a couple of things. Alright guys, so this is what I've purchased and it cost me 183 euros. And it's not a lot, but it's definitely needed. So 4 packs of toilet paper. I got a couple of drinks here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go home and bring all of the stuff into my basement. Alright, so this was the last one. I put all of my preps into here, into my basement. In here right now it has 18 degrees Celsius, so that's perfect for storing items. Also, there are no mice in my basement. And also, this is about all I have right now, because my old preps, they expired, so I brought them to the social market. And now I have to start new again. So basically, I have to rebuild an entire pantry from new in times where everything is already quite expensive. But I think that in 3 weeks from now, the prices will explode and everything will become even more expensive. Alright guys, so this is it for today. I really want to thank you for watching and stay tuned till next time.